Okay, so we're talking about statistics. So first, we have the group the collected data is intended to describe. So we call that a population. All right, the next one is one of the things we highlighted in our objectives. A value calculated using all the data from the entire population. That's our parameter. I think that Mr. Hansen might need to talk to me. We'll see. Do you need to talk to me, or are you just stopping in? Hi, Mr. Hansen. I've got 2 students on Google Meet today. I'm so impressed with myself. You can't see them, but they're on Google Meet, so you can say hi to our distance learners. There's 2 of them. Hi. Well, they can't see you. The camera's not turned that way. Right now, they can probably see my filing cabinets, but most importantly, they can see this. And I'm hoping they can hear my voice. So we'll see. Anyway, welcome. Sorry to interrupt by noticing the worker outside our door. Here we go. Okay, survey of an entire population. Ooh, that's a good word for this year. How many of your families have completed the census? Hey, Mr. Hansen's family has. Do you think so? Some of you are probably not sure. You should go home and ask your parents, have you done the census yet? And tell them to do it, right? Okay. A smaller subset of the entire population, ideally one that is fairly representative of the whole population. Sample. A value calculated using the data from a sample. A statistic. Okay. Pieces of information that allow us to classify the objects under investigation into various groupings. Qualitative and what else? Well, okay. Categorical. Okay, that's what I have written down as categorical and qualitative, right? So there's kind of 2 words that fit there. Categorical. Qualitative. I didn't give us enough space. So kind of think of that as categories or qualifying, qualifications. So something fits into a group based on its category or its qualification. Okay. Responses that are numerical in nature, which we can perform meaningful arithmetic calculations. So far, all of these words haven't seemed much like math, other than we know that statistics is part of math. But finally, numbers. That's what we think of when in a math class, right? So this one is quantitative. Do you guys know the official name of Math 1030? No, it's either quantitative reasoning or it's quantitative analysis. What is it? I don't remember. I don't remember which one it is. Either way, it has these big words that makes you think, what kind of math class is that? So the word quantitative just means dealing with numbers that we can work with, right? So it's basically a fancy word, quantitative. It's a fancy word for a math class. So. All right. I left you some blanks so that as you did some reading, you could choose other words to write down and define. Did any of you choose some last time that you wrote down that you'd like to raise your hand and share which ones you drew on there? I have one other one written down. Be brave. I left you some blank spaces for more vocabulary. Yeah, go ahead.
I put down target population.
Okay. Target population. And what was the definition for that?
It said that it's just used to describe the population.
Okay. change this. I'm not sure I really like that definition, so let's, I mean, I know that that's probably what you read in the book, but I feel like I want to understand that better, because when I think target population, what I'm thinking in a sentence is, I want to do a study, and my target population is high school students. What's that mean if I say it that way? That means I want to do a study, a statistical study that focuses on the opinions or the behaviors or the something about high school students, right? If my target population is high school students, the study is about them. I'm not going to include other grades. I'm not going to include adults that have graduated. That's my target population. But I don't know how to make that definition better. Are you doing any sort of Google searching for me? No, you don't have to. We're just curious. We could look for a better definition if you guys want. Okay, back to here. Any others that you wrote down as you're reading? Don't want to totally put you to sleep. Yes, no, we have a few people that are going to be leaving here on Facebook. So I need to quickly figure out what I'm going to have you start working on today. I wrote down bias. I think we'll talk more about this later, but just as a quick, what does this mean? So bias is when a sample does not represent a population. So let's say my target population was all high school students, and I decided to do a study and just surveyed people in this classroom. It kind of depends on what I'm studying, right? But in general, do you think that just the people in this classroom would represent all high school students? No, why not? What would be some reasons? Why would just survey you make my study have bias? It would be what? Louder. Oh, yes. So you guys are mostly seniors, few juniors that were ahead of the game a little bit. But yeah, there's probably a lot of ways, depending on what I'm studying, that freshmen and sophomores would get different answers, right? What else?
But also part of the bias of those students who have other interests in colleges. Since most of us most likely are taking a class to not have to do a college,
Right.
college credit.
Exactly. You only represent a small portion of high school students that are willing to not only plan ahead to go to college, but also to actually work on college while you're in high school, right? And to also take a math class your senior year when you could take something else or do home release or whatever, because you don't need another math class to graduate, right? So absolutely, you guys can maybe see some different ways that bias can come in to studies based on the sample, not representing the whole population. Okay, I'm going to stop this video because that's a little bit